Hi, everyone, and welcome to Speaking of Diamonds. My name is Rich. I welcome you here today for a bit of a last minute unboxing and kit up. And I know that some of you have asked about, seeing my process of kitting up. And I thought this would be a great way to go through it because this is nothing that I've planned to do at this time. And you'll see why in just a bit, but it's something I need to figure out quick because I want to get started on this canvas ASAP. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the image that I'm going to be kitting up today and working on is called Welcome Home. It's by Mandy Manzano, and it's this beautiful image of this angel holding this little white puppy. Because many of you have heard me talk about my neighbor's puppy. She's not doing well. 15 years old, a number of different medical issues. She's not doing well. They have an appointment tomorrow to talk about quality of life. So I'm going to need this soon. I mean, I don't want to wish it upon anything, but even if I hope that she's able to make a complete recovery, and if that's the case, I will hold on to this and just use it one at the time. I actually bought two copies of this, one for this specific instance because her little puppies, she always has these white Maltese looking puppies, which is sort of what this puppy looks like. And then one for myself for when I need it. And I will be changing the dog's color a little bit to reflect my guy, which hopefully I never have to use this, but realistically, someday I will feel up to doing this for my own use. So let's go ahead and let me go through the process. So just this morning, I thought, what, I have to get that canvas out. I need to start it. So the first thing I did was, this is the canvas. The first thing I did is I got it all hooked up to my hanging system, if you will, which is I just have uh, a one hook coat rack and some pants hangers that I hang my paintings on. And then when they extend, you know, past the hanger and they start to fold in a little bit, I just put a dowel rod behind it. Let's see if I can make sure that that's in frame here, a dowel rod. And then I just have these clips to put that up there. The other thing I do to just expedite the straightening process is I have these weights that are for picnic table cloths or outdoor tablecloths that you put the cloth down and you hook these on, and then it's not going to blow off of your table. So I hook those to the bottom of the canvas, typically one equidistance from each end, or as equidistant as I can get it, and then one in the center. And then within just minutes, usually 20-30 minutes, I have a straight hanging canvas. So, so this is, I think, Mandy Manzano is one of my favorite artists. Because one of my very first DAC canvases, or my first DAC canvas, was the Princess Diana, and not only Princess Diana. I don't know why, but her death really affected me. I really don't know why. Um, I mean, obviously it was sad and tragic, but it just really affected me. So I really liked the image. And then, I don't know, just with all the black outline that Mandy does, and then you sort of fill in the colors, maybe it just feels like coloring to me. So I'm looking forward to getting started on this canvas. So let me go ahead and hang this back up, and then I'll get out the drills and we'll go through my process of, all right, how do I want to kit this up? Okay, so I have hung up my canvas and I'm back with the drills. Let me go ahead and open this up. Apologize for the crinkles. What I also like about this canvas and potentially gifting the canvas is that this color palette fits in really well with my neighbor's living room specifically. But in other areas of her house, she's got a lot of earth tones and whatnot. So it's going to fit regardless of the image. Now, one question I did have, and I posted this in the community tab of my channel, so feel free to go there and answer the poll or put in the comments down below. Have you ever gifted a canvas? And if so, how did you gift it? Did you dry mount it? Did you frame it? Did you just give it rolled up and sort of let them decide? I'm torn on how to do this. Part of me says give it rolled up and maybe, I don't know, like a gift certificate towards framing or dry mounting, or with the offer to take care of that at one point. Something like this, I don't know that they're going to want to run and hang up right away. They may need to wait until the process a little bit, which is absolutely fine and understandable. But how do I present this in a way that's going to say, if you want, because I also realize that diamond paintings themselves, regardless of subject content, are not everyone's aesthetic. So I sort of want to say, if you want to put this up, I want to help you make it look nice. So answer that down below, or go ahead and answer the poll, or do both, either way. So the first thing that I consider when kitting up is going to be the number of colors. So for this canvas, we have 64 colors. So immediately what that tells me is that my art dot drawers, which I think have 48 slots in them, or hold 48 bottles, I'm going to need at least two. But what this does tell me is that perhaps, like the Elizabeth Ward or Elizabeth Ward type containers, could absolutely be a solution as well. As far as tray bricks, or these Forever Young trays that I'm using for another kit right now, I don't have enough of these to kit up in one. Like one set. I'd have to get more of them quickly. So I'm probably going to go with Elizabeth Ward. But one other thing that I consider before totally committing to Elizabeth Ward type um, solution is the amount of drills. So as I go through here really quick, obviously 310, there's going to be a lot of 310s in a Mandy Manzano. But I'm looking here, and you know how sometimes you have like a lot of packs like this that are really thin. There's not a lot in here. Here's another one that's thin. Those scream to me, obviously, the small Mandy Manzano, or small Elizabeth Ward containers. Here's some, like, these are the longer container bags. Here's the smaller, narrower containers. So it looks like I have a number of small, and then some medium, and then like the large would probably be black. So when I see that, if I have a lot of these small amount of drills, and maybe I do have enough colors to fit in one drawer of my art dot, I may still choose Elizabeth Ward containers, just because it's more efficient to use the smaller containers than it is to worry about only using a quarter of these small round art dot containers and things like that. So I think my choice is going to be my Elizabeth Ward containers. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to go dig out a tray or two of my Elizabeth Wards, and I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I have what I need to kit up here. Let me just go quickly through what I got out of my craft closet. First of all, I have my kit up container here from Chris's Craft Corner. I forget the technical name for this, but you've seen this before. I just love this thing. You can arrange your drills, and then you have some larger spots back here that you can put your various funnels. I have my dryer sheets. I have my anti-static cloths that I've cut up into pieces. I have a regular funnel should I need it, and a place for my scissors. So when I get ready to separate the drills and start putting them into the containers, I have this at the ready. So whenever working with Elizabeth Ward or the Elizabeth Ward knockoffs, the first thing I grab um, at least two kits, and one of which, so like this one looks like I have uh, cannibalized before, because as you know, like this is your standard layout, I think, for the the multiple size kits. So clearly, I'm going to need some of these small ones from looking at the amount of drills that I've had before. I know that my 310s are going to go on one of these, and maybe some of these medium, maybe not the large, but the medium size ones, maybe some of those for some of those smaller packets. But I always grab two, one of which, if I have a lot of uh, small amount of colors, I have one of those that are all small containers. I'll grab that, because basically we're going to be playing a big game of Jenga to try and fit as much as the drills into one of these containers, preferably, but two if needed. But I want to make sure, I typically like to make sure that I have it in the most efficient and consolidated number of containers as possible. The other thing I grab is just my little um, container here that I have of some random sizes, because as you may have found out when you're working with these containers, that sometimes when you play the Jenga, you have some random leftovers. So here's my random leftovers. So these are all of the larger size and then the extra large. So if I need to, have some left over or use these, I'm just going to swap them in and out here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and set my tray aside. And I'm going to start on my drills. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unbag, or not unbag, but snip them all, get them in order here so that I can get them into the containers in order. So I will start doing that right now, and I'll come back and show it to you, and before we move on to the next step. Welcome back. So I have all of my colors sorted in DMC number order. As you know, DAC kits the drills come in order of weight, so they're not always in numerical order. And I do like to kit up in DAC number order, and I'll explain why in a second. I do have these two set off to the side just because these are all of my 310s, so I didn't need to take up room for those. And it looks like we have a special drill here. It looks like a clear crystal, 5200. I'm assuming that it's going to be for these little sort of hanging sparkle things, but I will have to confirm that once I take a look at the canvas in a little bit more detail. Again, this is sort of like a quick kit up type thing here, so I'm not 100% sure where everything goes. Now, why do I kit up in DMC number, and I arrange my drills then in the containers by DMC color? Because I am forever missing symbols on the containers. So for example, I'll come across this Y, let's say, on the canvas, and I'll be looking at all my containers, and I can't find the Y. Putting it in DMC order allows me to come to the key, because this is the same key that's on the canvas, and come through and do a more methodical search for the symbol and go, okay, why? It's color 59. So now I know to look towards in this instance, the end of my containers. Sorry about the sun coming in, but I'm in front of a window and it feels really good because it's cold outside. So it helps me cross-reference yet again. I'm of the age that I remember card catalogs and cross-referencing through the card catalogs and everything like that. So I'm a big cross-reference person. So I'm going to go ahead and get my containers over here and start lining them up. And I'm going to go through the way that I just set up my containers for filling and sort of deal with static or get a preemptive strike against static. And then uh, I will fill up the containers and stuff, and I'll come back after that. So let me go ahead and move this over and get my containers back up here, and we'll pick up in just a minute. Okay, so I have my containers ready that I'm going to start filling. I've gotten out two different dryer sheets here. This is going to help combat static a little bit. The first one is one that I've just used a lot uh, to wipe things down, and then one is a little bit newer. It's not as creased and crumpled and stuff like that, and that's going to be key in just a minute. Because I'm doing this and I want this to go as quickly as possible, I'm going to pull out all the stops to help combat static, even if I don't need them. Like, I was looking at the drills, I don't see a lot of static. There was maybe one or two packets that were like, I'm like, okay, these are going to be bad, but I don't even want to mess around with that. I want to get this kitted up as soon as possible because I want to get to work on this canvas. And a lot of us are like that. You may be really excited to work on a canvas, or in this instance, I want to get it done in somewhat of a current timeline or a quick timeline. So I don't want to even mess around with that. So I have my crumpled up dryer sheet, my newer dryer sheet, and I just go to the dollar store and get a packet of dryer sheets there. And then I'm going to get out, these are little squares of dryer sheets that I've cut up. Get that out of the sun a little bit so you can maybe see. I need to cut some more up. But I'm starting to really like using these pads. These are these nail pads that I, I don't know exactly how they work. They don't have anything on them, but they're these little nail pads that I've cut into four. Okay. And I just plop these in there and they seem to combat the static very nicely. I actually just reordered some of these. This is from an Etsy store that's listed below in the video, Nebula Artistry, I believe. But I reversed Google searched what these look like, and um, I found them on Amazon for like a gazillion and four of them for like $9. So I just reordered some of those. So I'm going to have these tools out ready to go. So the way I usually do that is I just have these out and ready. Have this ready. Now I'm going to get out my funnels since I'm using my Elizabeth Ward containers. I'm going to go ahead and get out my Elizabeth Ward funnel system here. This is from Fantasy Sparkles on Etsy. They're from they're out of Australia. And what I do is I just wipe down with my dryer sheet and even send it through the funnel part here. I wipe this down really good just to make sure that nothing is going to stick anywhere. Now, really, the drills only go through this top part, but I just like to wipe everything down just for prosperity's sake. And then I'm going to move this over there because I'm done with my crumpled up dryer sheet until I may need it again. The way that this funnel system works is each Elizabeth Ward container has a corresponding base. So a little piece of filament there. So for example, if I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a large container, so one of these, I'm going to take this attachment, and what it is this the length or the height of this wall here is the perfect holder for the top. This is the actual funnel that you're going to use for each size. I'm going to put it there, and then when I slip this in, it's a perfect fit. Okay. I've used the ones that are, you just put them on the top of the like the lid sits on top of the containers, and those work fine. The only thing I've noticed is that this is the one difference that I found between Elizabeth Ward proper and Elizabeth Ward knockoff containers is if it's Elizabeth Ward, those will snap on and you sort of it. I mean, it's not anything permanent, but it snaps on a little bit so you have a secure fit. Whereas if it's a knockoff, those will not fit as tightly, and sometimes drills get everywhere. So I sort of like these just because it sort of fits both the Elizabeth Ward and the non-Elizabeth Ward. All right, the other thing that, let's see, what do I need? Obviously, I need my sticker sheets. Now, because this is from DAC, I know that these stickers are going to come off my containers, but I'm a little bit anal retentive when it comes to not having a lot of sticky left over and having to scrape off stickers and stuff like that. So if I'm concerned ever that a sticker is not going to come off my container cleanly, I will go ahead and I will take some washi tape and put little pieces of washi tape on the front of all my containers, whether it's the full size, the medium size, or I'm looking around here. I have this one of the really thin rolls out as well, which is really helpful for these smaller ones. But what that allows you to do is you put the label on that, and you're not putting all of the glue on the container. So typically then you just peel the washi tape off and it's going to come right off. And it's going to work really well. And that reminds me, I should probably put some washi tape in my little kit up box here so that when I get my stuff out, I have everything that I need. So I'll go ahead and figure out which ones I want to put in there in just a little bit. So now I'm just going to, here's my little pile of previously used dryer sheets and the nail pads here. So I'm just going to go ahead and reuse these. Typically, I leave, when I fill a container, I will leave these in the container. But with the current setup that I'm using for another canvas, these sort of just get in the way at the end because it's a tray. It's one of the Forever Young trays. Let me grab one. It's right here. Let me just finish separating these. Get them. These are reusable. Okay, so you don't need to worry about. But see how these are all in one container and tray, right? Which is fantastic. But see how when I get down to the end of the drills, it's like taking up more real estate than needed. So if I'm not having a problem with static, I just take those out, and I've been piling them up over here, and that's what I just put back in my supply here. So in saying that, I'm going to go ahead and start. So 105 is our first color. This is an AB. This is when DAC was putting their ABs under, I forget the number, 150 or something like that. But now I think they've incorporated them in with letters into the actual DMC. So I'm going to go ahead and obviously I'm pretty sure that a small container is going to work for this. I did look up one time, there's a listing out there. I think it is in 400 drill increments that these will hold. So like this will hold 4, the next size up holds 800, the next size up holds 1200. But don't quote me on that. I'll have to look that up and commit that to memory. But I think I should be able to work with this. Sometimes it's really helpful when manufacturers put the number of drills to help decide which container I want to use. DAC doesn't do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and have to guess. So I'm going to go ahead and, let me see, small. This is my small container, so I'm going to put my funnel together. So here's my funnel with the small, and I'm going to put the top on it. And what I'm going to do is, right off the bat, I'm going to put at the bottom, I'm going to put one of my nail pads here, and it doesn't look like I have a lot of static, so I'm going to go just with that for right now. So this is in, it's sort of locked in. I'm going to open up, and I'm going to go ahead and feel free to pour right into my funnel, and then sort of tap it and move it around a little bit to make sure everything disperses evenly in the container. Then I just lift this up a little bit, pull it out, and here are my drills. And make sure nothing's stuck to the bottom. I'm going to get my sticker and place my sticker and move on to the next color. Now with this next one, I'm going to show you one little extra step that if I see a hint of static in a container that I start to use. So this is 106. This actually looks a little bit fuller than that one, so I may actually grab the next size up here. So this is the medium. Let me change my funnel over. When I first got this, I'm like, there's way too many pieces. This could be very cumbersome, but it's not. It really works. I'm going to open up my container. I'm going to put my nail pad in here. Now, if these looked staticky in the bag, I'm then also putting in a piece of dryer sheet. And I'm going to use my flat dryer sheet in just a second. So let me lock that in. Move that up a little bit so I have some room. And now if this was a really staticky bit, it's not going to hurt it even if it's not, but because it doesn't look like it's very staticky. But like I said, I want to eliminate static before it even happens here. I'm going to pour these right out onto my dryer sheet. Okay. And now I'm going to use my dryer sheet as a little fold it in half here, and now I'm just going to pour. And this is why the newer dryer sheet works well with this, because it's not crumpled and everything, and the drills are going to roll right off of it. So I'm going to close this up. I'm going to put my sticker on, and I'm going to move on. So I know that you've all seen this done previously. So now see, here's where you start the game of Jenga, right? Because I have to take out a small one to fit the medium one. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that in my little extra container here so that when I'm playing Jenga, I can make sure to put the pieces together in a good order. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to kit up the rest of these. And then once I'm done, we'll come back and take a look to see how I did. I'll report back on the amount of static that I run into, if any. And yeah, we'll get ready to start the canvas. So I'll be right back. All right, and here we're back, and as you can see, I am all kitted up and ready to go. I seemingly made a great decision at using the Elizabeth Ward. I was able to Jenga all of the colors except for 3 together, and the 3 that I wasn't able to get together, I just went ahead and I'm keeping them in this extra little tote here with all the extra 310s. So I wasn't able to fit the 310 and then the one fairy dust, white fairy dust, and then the crystals were just the last one. They were different. I figure I'd keep them separate from everything else. So I'm able to work from one Elizabeth Ward container and then my little extra tote here, which, as you can see, I've been working. It's been a little bit since the last video, but it's working out very well. I'm able to have this on my desk. I put this on the side of my desk where I keep the colors that I'm working with. And then when I need to switch out a canvas to work on another whip, I just can pack up one Elizabeth Ward. I set this on top of it. I go and put this out on a separate table that I store things on, and I can switch out my my canvas. So this worked out really well, and the static was minimal. I did, if I saw any type of static within the bag, I went ahead and I just used the diamond or the dryer sheet. But for the most part, I didn't have to. And kitting up went quite well. So I hope this helped a little bit about my thoughts on what type of container that I'm going to be using, and what have you. So I, hope this helps and maybe gives you some ideas. And like I said, I have gotten some work done on the painting here. I'm about, I don't know how far along am I here. Maybe a quarter, maybe a third, maybe somewhere in between that. And good and bad timing. My neighbor did end up losing her little girl, and it was quite sad. It is still quite sad, but I'm glad that I have this started, and that hopefully within the next couple weeks I can give it to her. And I think that's acceptable. It's not too soon, and then it's not just way too far out. So um, I'm hoping that she understands the sentiment behind it. So, all right. Well, thank you, everyone. And remember, no matter how you diamond paint, how you kit your diamonds up, there is no right or wrong way. Do what works for you, and you do you. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.